it's helpful for a person, but is certainly for a company to define and articulate its primary purpose, right? Me, WildWorks' primary purpose is we create playgrounds where kids can find fun with substance.
Hmm.
That's that's our mission statement. That's what it comes back to. Um, so when I look at my time, am I bringing, where do I contribute the maximum value to that? There's some things that only I can do.
Yeah.
I have to be judicious about which of those really only I can do, and which are things that I might just be, holding on to unreasonably. Um, but there's nothing wrong with defining that primary purpose and then saying, well, me on nights and weekends messing around with soldering solar panels onto things, it doesn't really contribute to that primary purpose. That's my thing. Maybe I turn that into a business. Maybe I never do. Maybe it becomes something, a few years down the road. But it's not really. It doesn't contribute value to WildWorks. It's
Well,
not
and
something that
even
our
like you said, if you go, let's say that game design is still that thing that you want to have your hands in. If you go and you put 20 hours of your week into game design, I would imagine that for your company as a whole, this is going to be very detrimental. Even though your game design skills might be better than the rest, like even though what you can add on that side is unique to you, the overall effect to your company would be negative because of what
right,
you can do that other people cannot.
right.
And that's a very odd
The
position to be in.
it's well, the the more abstracted you are from the people who are putting pixels together in my industry, the more you have to be oriented in service to them.
Hmm.
It's not about serving my creative needs.
Sure.
It's about being of service to them, and where can I be of maximum service to them. Ultimately, that results in products that I can contribute to, in maybe not in all the ways that I want to, but in ways. And the for me, the most rewarding part of all of that is seeing the effect that we have on kids' lives.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't mind looking at it from the perspective of, yeah, I can carve out a little time for my personal projects, for my creative things. Um, I need to think about how can I be of maximum service to the company as a whole, and be judicious about where that time is spent that way.
100%. So I'm curious if it's if you were to study all of these different kind of startup and founding case studies, if you were to put all these together, I'm very curious if, the startup begins with kind of a need to exercise like your creative muscles. The startup begins with this need to create something that you see a need for. And then as the business grows, your role generally becomes more that of a facilitator or a producer of this, where you fall into those things. And then you begin this cycle again where you start setting aside outside time. So you facilitate and you put your time
Mhm.
towards that business. But then you start tinkering and you start setting up outside time to bring the creativity back, to basically re exercise those muscles and start creating again and just basically begin the cycle again with something else. It kind of feels like this process where you're not exercising your creative muscles like you once were in the role that you're in. You're in the role of a facilitator and in the role of a producer, as opposed to 10 years back when your primary role is creativity. So I'm wondering, do you feel that compulsion to be creating outside? Do you feel
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. And if you deliberately deny that to if you say no, I've got to channel 100% of my energy into this, I have a fiduciary responsibility for 100% of my creative time to go into this. Um, Ultimately, that is not the best way for me to be of service to the company.
Mm-hmm.
It is of more value for me to be of service to the company by maintaining the neural pathways that allowed me to be creative to begin with, and keeping those muscles working, right?
Yeah.
Because they can contribute in other ways. They can jump in and solve problems that other people are getting stuck on. And I need to be in a balanced and healthy place in order for me to be of maximum service to the kids that depend on us and the employees that depend on me. I have to make that time. That uh, I have to find some outlet for that creativity to maintain those pathways, or I'm failing at what the primary purpose was.
That's super interesting because I started this book 3 years ago, and it was in a rut, in a period where I felt like I was just doing, like I was doing only what the company needed of me. As a partner, I was doing the education. I was going out and shooting and creating the products that I needed to. I was overseeing. I was doing the things and creating the resources that I need to. And it was this kind of creative low point for me where it was, I have to have something else. I have to have something that I'm creating again that led me to that place. And it restored that balance. It's what made it possible during that creative rut to say, okay, I'm okay to go to work and to do my job because I
Mm-hmm.
have this other thing that kind of fulfills me in a way. And now this is becoming my job. But it was a very odd period where it just felt like I was getting up, running full speed into a wall each day, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
it was very discouraging.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah, it's there are times it's very difficult to, WildWorks has been going now since what, 2003.
Yeah,
That's a long ass time
that's crazy.
in game development world, and the products that we've been working on are, they take 2 years to launch and then another 2 years to really develop and find their feet. And then you've got evergreen products that last for a long time. But how many of those do you get in a career?
Yeah,
How many swings at something on that scale do you really get to take? Over a 30, 40-year career, that limits you to what, 4 or 5 things that you can build.
yeah,
I don't I don't want to have that limit ultimately. And it is easy to start feeling like you're in a rut there. That's part of why looking for talent is, I think, an essential executive function, because you need to be interacting directly with the young, hungry, super creative, super energized people that are new to the industry and that have all of the new ideas and things that maybe they don't know that they've already been thought of, or they don't, they've got a new reason why it shouldn't be rejected, or
hmm
they've got technologies they've been looking at that you haven't bothered to. I think that that interaction helps with it.